It's been a rocky week for Donald Trump's relationship with female voters. Hillary Clinton berated him at the debate for calling women pigs and belittling a Miss Universe winner for gaining weight. Trump then doubled down, going to war on Twitter against the contestant, Alicia Machado, accusing her of making a sex tape. And now a female newspaper reporter has come forward to tell a shocking story about her dealings with Mr. Trump. Jennifer Lin was a reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer for 31 years. And back in 1988, she was the Inquirer's New York City-based financial reporter when she wrote about Trump's activities in Atlantic City. Wait until you hear what happened next. This is Jennifer Lin. So, Jennifer, you wrote something that he didn't like. Then what happened?
Michael, I was working in the Wall Street office of the Philadelphia Inquirer, and I got a phone call. The woman said, "Hold for Mr. Trump," and then Mr. Trump began to yell at me. He told me I had shit for brains. He told me I worked for a shitty newspaper, and he said, "What sort of shit was I writing?" I was stunned. He hung up. He called my boss in Philadelphia, and he treated my boss to the same sort of rant. But then he added that he referred to me as the C word, a word I will not use, Michael, because in my opinion, it's the worst word in the English language to refer to a woman. But he complained to my boss. He called me the C word, and my boss said if there was any problem with the story, we would run a correction. So what was wrong with the story, Mr. Trump? And Mr. Trump said he had not read the story. He only read the headline. So my boss said to call him back if there were any problems, and he never called back.
Why now? Why are you telling this story today in the context of the presidential race?
Because of the debate, Michael. The day after the debate, I went out to dinner with my friends from where I live in suburban Philadelphia. We call ourselves the Doylestown Dance Moms. And we were horrified by the things Trump has said about women. Rosie O'Donnell is a slob. Miss Universe is Miss Piggy. And I told my girlfriends in Philadelphia, I said, hey, remember when he called me the C word? Remember when he told me I had shit for brains? So that day I also went on Facebook and I posted a similar sort of thing on Facebook. And one of my friends on Facebook who runs a website called Billy Penn called me and said, would you mind writing about what happened and explain your story? So that's why I wrote about it.
Have you been telling the story for 3 decades?
Michael, when Donald Trump tells you you have shit for brains, that's not something you forget. And I have been telling this story for 28 years. I've been telling it to my friends and family. I've been telling it to my sisters. I've been telling it to my daughter and her friends and my nieces. I've been telling it a lot. Yes, I have not forgotten that Donald Trump told me I had shit for brains and that he called me a C word. And I have been repeating this story for 28 years. So I'm offended when the Trump campaign tells me.
Yeah, I was just going to say the Trump campaign, and I know this because it was appended to your own blog and you publicized it. David Urban, who is a senior advisor, I happen to know David, haven't spoken to him about this issue, but here's the statement. The accusation is categorically false. I find it incredibly coincidental that this person's crystal clear recollection of one sentence, one word spoken nearly 30 years ago just happens to coincide with Mr. Trump's surge in Pennsylvania. There is nothing more. This is nothing more than an avowed liberal reporter who is trying to exploit Mr. Trump's reputation as clickbait for her tabloid stories. You can have the final word to that.
Thank you, Michael. I have been telling this story for 28 years. My former editor can support my version of the story, and he will also support the fact that Mr. Trump called me a C word. And as for being a tabloid journalist, Michael, I left the newspaper business 2 years ago to write a book about Christianity in China. I am not a tabloid reporter, and this is not clickbait. I'm offended by the way Donald Trump treated me 20 years ago. He bullied me. And I'm offended now at the fact that the Trump campaign is trying to discredit me. This is a true story. It happened to me. There are plenty of people who could support this and corroborate my story. So thank you for giving me the last word there.
The booker for my program is Corinna Lamb. Corinna is a straight shooter. She spoke to your editor, Craig Stock, yesterday, and he confirmed your account and said that he remembers it exactly the way that you told it. Jennifer Lin, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Michael.
So how will any of this impact the election, if at all, and what does it have to do with running the country?